Hello, on Zoom in Africa today, we take you to Nigeria, Mali, Uganda, and Congo. I'm Jonathan Mlenga as your host. Stay tuned. Let's start with a sad development in Congo Republic, where the country's main opposition leader died the day after a presidential election. His spokesperson confirmed that Guy Brice Parfait was hospitalized with COVID-19. Matthew Rotonda reports.
Congo Republic's main opposition challenger has died, a spokesman said on Monday, just a few hours after polls closed in the country's presidential election. Guy Brice Parfait Kolela had been sick in hospital with COVID-19. The spokesman said he died while being evacuated for medical treatment. On Saturday, Kolela had released this message.
My cher compatriote, je suis en difficulté.
My dear compatriots, I am having trouble.
Mais cependant,
I am fighting against death, but I ask you to rise up. Go and vote for change, so that I will not be fighting in vain.
battez-vous.
Fight. I will not have fought in vain. Rise up as one man. Make me happy.
Plaisir. Je me bats.
I am fighting and you too. Go fight for change. Go ahead.
Allez-y.
You owe it to the future of your children. Fight. Thank you.
Merci.
The 61-year-old was the son of former Prime Minister Bernard Kolela. He came second in a 2016 presidential election and was seen as the main challenger to President Denis Sassou Nguesso. The incumbent president is widely expected to extend his 36-year rule. That's despite an ongoing economic crisis and accusations of having mismanaged the country's oil revenues.
It's a sad development indeed for Africa. May his soul rest in peace. Meanwhile, despite a sustained economic crisis that has deepened over the past years, Congo Republic's Denis Sassou Nguesso, one of Africa's longest presiding leaders, won the country's election with 88% of the vote according to official results. David Dow has more.
Congo Republic's President Denis Sassou Nguesso has been re-elected with more than 88% of the vote, official results said on Tuesday. That outcome will come as no surprise to diplomats and political analysts. As one of Africa's longest ruling leaders, the 77-year-old has a firm grip on state institutions in the Central African oil producer. The main opposition party had also boycotted the vote, and two of his other most prominent rivals were convicted of crimes after the last election in 2016. In Brazzaville, Sassou's supporters like Chantal Akutikulu were celebrating.
He is a man of God. He was elected by God. God chose him. Be careful, may no one touch him.
Sassou's nearest rival, Guy Brice Parfait Kolela, received 8% of the vote. He died just hours after the polls closed while being evacuated to France for coronavirus treatment. Sassou, a former paratrooper, took power in 1979. He lost Congo's first multi-party election in 1992, but returned to office in 1997, after a civil war. Speaking on Tuesday, Sassou said he was grateful to the people.
We must respond to the call, to the push for the future of the Congo, which is our common good.
But the immediate future for Congo looks challenging. The economy has been in crisis since an oil price collapse in 2014. That caused external debt, much of it owed to private oil traders like Glencore, to soar to over 100% of gross domestic product. The global health crisis and a drop in oil prices last year have made matters worse. The economy contracted by more than 8% in 2020 and is expected to grow by less than 1% this year.
Children around the continent are facing challenges in their lives. As a result, child labor continues to attract calls for its eradication across Africa. Let's hear more.
These hands tell a story. All that glitters is not gold. These are the cogs in the machine, the victims of Burkina Faso's lucrative gold rush. Almost 20,000 children work in mines across the country. More than 80% of them have never been to school.
I started working here when I was 13 because we had no food in the family. I've never been to school, and everything I've earned in the time I've been here, I sent back to my family.
60% of the 17 million people living in Burkina Faso are under 25 years old. An estimated 700,000 adolescents and youngsters work in the mining industry. Gold is the main export, providing 20% of the country's GDP. In just a quarter century, one of the world's poorest countries has transformed itself into Africa's fourth largest producer of gold. Foreign investors are flocking, job creation has boomed, but the global demand for natural resources comes at a high price. In 2007, a symbol of love became a symbol of abuse.
The only reason you're still alive is because you haven't told anyone.
The Hollywood film Blood Diamond unearthed the dirt behind Sierra Leone's gems. Similarly, gold fever is having a severe impact on child exploitation. Every day, children risk their lives with dreams of finding a hole which will pull them out of poverty. Aside from the immediate risks, a lost grip means a 40-foot plunge. There are also long-term health problems caused by back-breaking manual labor and exposure to toxic chemicals. And in the Central African Republic, there are constant attacks from rebels threatening to take over the mines.
With this crisis, we hardly work. People often come to shoot us, and we are forced to flee into the bush.
According to UNICEF, 1 in 3 children in sub-Saharan Africa is engaged in child labor. Among them, millions suffer in its worst forms, including child soldiering, sexual exploitation, drug trafficking, and other illicit activities. Eradicating child labor is particularly difficult because often entire families work together to maximize profits. The Ivory Coast is the world's top cocoa producer. Some residents in Ome believe that children working in the plantations should not be regarded as forced laborers.
Imagine I'm a farmer and I couldn't afford to send my child to school. I'm not exploiting him if I send him to the fields.
In Burkina Faso, at least, there may be light at the end of the tunnel.
I left the mines to come here and get trained, and I'm happy. The work at the mines was very hard, but here I've gained knowledge that will help me in the future.
The government, in partnership with UNICEF and Terre des Hommes, is providing vocational training to youths. It is not a replacement for lost education, but it is a way out of the mines. Since the project began in 2009, more than 200 children have been withdrawn from Gorol Kaje mine alone. One of the biggest prices child laborers pay is being deprived of an education. In Kenya, a group of musicians, Sauti Sol, are using their voices to effect change for the youth. To celebrate the annual Day of the African Child, Sauti Sol's Soma Soma Foundation joined forces with Start a Library to encourage literacy.
You find that a lot of the places where child labor is rampant, education is not entrenched. And we believe, as Start a Library, that if we show the parents that education and also books can open doors for their children.
Guys are starting to understand that there's a thin line between kids helping their parents and what you can call child labor. There's a kid who had a story, a really passionate one, because he used to go to school after school. He used to go get cattle, then bring it to the house and milk it, and then study for his exams. No electricity whatsoever. You see, that's child labor.
Each year, on June 12th, the World Day Against Child Labor highlights the plight of young workers. A group of artists from the Ivory Coast are using the power of song to advocate against the problem. The global number of children in child labor has declined by 1/3 since 2000. But there is still work to be done. And eliminating the problem goes hand in hand with implementing the right to education for all children.
According to the World Health Organization, Nigeria has the highest cancer death rates in the world. Let's find out more on how Project Pink Blue is stepping up to help cancer patients in the nation.
It all began with a lump on her breast. After several tests, Perpetual Eze was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was surprised. I saw at my age having breast cancer. I couldn't believe it. I just feel like a story. It's just a story. I ignore it. Just relax. Till the end of the year, the thing begin to strong and swell up, increase. By that time I know that it is true. So one person advised me to take the treatment. I should not play with cancer.
The cancer has now advanced to stage 4, spreading to parts of her lungs. Eze has been battling this condition for the last 2 years. She's one of thousands of Nigerians who are fighting cancer. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 24 million people live with cancer worldwide. In Nigeria, 100,000 cases are recorded annually, with 80,000 out of this dying of the disease. This puts the country's death ratio of 4 in 5 affected persons, one of the worst state in the world. Out of 7 linear acceleration machines in Nigeria, only 2 are functioning. The most prevalent cancer cases in the West African country are cervical, breast, and prostate cancer. These account for about 90 deaths daily. Experts have affirmed that the fight against cancer in Africa is burdensome. Lack of finances, limited access to quality health care, and reluctance of patients to seek medical advice early are some of the reasons that contribute to this. On the other hand, drugs cost as much as $830 monthly, while chemotherapy goes for $550. This is a price not friendly to the country's large population. Gloria Origi is a breast cancer survivor. She too has faced challenges accessing treatment.
Many of our members, they complain of the same thing. It's either the doctors are on strike, the radiotherapy machine has broken down, no reagents for the bone scan, it's nuclear medicine before you get the reagents. So many protocols. In fact, you have to book. I remember I was asked to go for bone scan in 2012. I ended up doing that in 2014 because the reagent was not there. And eventually when it came, there were so much queue that it still didn't get me. So you find out that these things keeps coming up. And when it's like that, cancer is not, cells are not waiting for you.
Gloria has since opted to supplement her treatment with a natural herb ground from moringa trees. Organizations like the Project Pink Blue have stepped in to help alleviate problem cancer patients go through in the nation. This local NGO conducts outreach programs, offers free screening services for cervical cancer, and provides counseling and funding for people living with the disease.
There's a need to create more awareness. There's a need to really take the message of cancer, both diagnosis and treatment, to different rural communities in different languages. And this cannot be done if there is no federal government commitment, and also if there is no commitment from state governments to fight this disease. As I speak to you today, we have over 72,000 people dying of cancer in Nigeria. And the number is set to increase because there are over 102,000 people, that are diagnosed of cancer every year. We have prostate cancer on the increase, we have colorectal cancer on the increase. Shamefully, we even have this other cancer, liver cancer, on the increase now because it's related to hepatitis.
Though global cancer patient survival prospects are said to be improving according to a study published by Lancet Medical Journal. Abiodun Egwenu is an epidemiologist based in Abuja. She says there is much to be done.
Compared with the past, I would say awareness has improved. People now know more, at least most people know that cancer exists. But what causes cancer, I would say the awareness has not been so good even up till now. Many people still think cancer is a white man's disease. Many people still link cancer to witchcraft even up till this day. Many of people also still link cancer to bad deeds. If you do something bad, then you can have cancer.
With organizations like Project Pink Blue in place, Nigeria might go down the cancer table.
We'll now take a short break, and still to come is a story from Mali, where goat fever has gripped local small-scale farmers. We'll be right back.
It is packaged to perfection, trending topics that we will be discussing to make sure you know exactly what's happening in the world of social media and, of course, our very own country.
Exactly. We don't just limit ourselves to the country, but we also move across the borders with the best in international news, policy making. We also bring experts to bring to you right information right here on The Breakfast Show.
And if you've got questions, we got you covered too. Like we said, we're on Facebook, so comment, leave your questions. We will be able to answer them. And if we can, trust me, we're going to get somebody that can.
Yeah, join us every day, Monday to Saturday.
It's Constance and Paul.
Oh, Paul and Constance.
No, definitely Constance and Paul.
Paul and Constance.
Definitely Constance.
Paul and Constance. 7 to 9.
Hello and welcome to Zoom in Africa, where we'll bring you the continent's biggest stories in current affairs. We'll also bring you the headlines, main news stories, expert analyses, and interviews. Right here on Millennium TV.
Welcome back, and you're still watching Zoom in Africa. Now, the economy of Mali is traditionally dominated by agriculture. However, goat fever has gripped subsistence farmers whose dreams of riches collide with tradition and the need to feed the populace. Here's a report.
The sound of a machine sifting sand fills the air in Dabale, Mali. For the last 9 years, the area has become a mining hub. To small-scale miners, this is their only source of income. Before gold is extracted, miners have to go through the tedious processes of getting through the dugout. Today, Musa Keita is hopeful that his efforts will pay off.
Our work is not easy at all. First, we have to dig the shaft into the soil
once we arrive about 30 meters deep, where the soil is moist. From there, we dig a tunnel into the moist soil. We then use wood to stabilize the tunnel, because if this is not well done, it might cave in.
Mali is Africa's third largest gold-producing country after Ghana and South Africa. Small-scale mining accounts for 10% of the total country output. The mining sector is informal, and there is no reliable data available on the number of laborers working in the gold mines. However, there is great concern for the miners who work in deplorable conditions and earn meager incomes.
The price of gold goes up and down, and we get the actual price from our dealers in Bamako. Since I'm in the business, the price varies between 12,000 and 18,000 CFA francs per gram.
Mali exports 90% of its gold. This leaves it in short supply for the local market, while also driving the prices to unaffordable levels.
In the past times, I could work up to 1 kilogram of gold per month. But nowadays, it's very little. These days, the women come and want the old gold redone.
The country is one of the poorest in the world, with the average worker earning approximately $1,500 annually. 80% of workers are employed in the agricultural sector, with 15% in the service sector. With gold prices on the rise, farmers have abandoned agriculture for gold mining. This has led to a decline in agricultural produce.
The government has decided that they have to stop mining during the rainy season and do cultivation. This is the direction where the government wants to raise the awareness.
But for most laborers, mining is a more profitable venture than agriculture.
Our problem is that the authorities will close the site during the rainy season. But how can you expect a miner to go back to farming when he is able to gain the value of 10 or 20 bags of grain in one lucky day?
Idrissa Kamara has been working in the mining site since 1976 and now has his own business. Idrissa buys up gravel and sand that the miners are not able to exploit.
I take my equipment to the mining sites and I buy the gravel from the miners. I crush the gravel with my grinding mill and roast the gold from the powder. Sometimes I sell the gold powder to local dealers. Otherwise, I take it to Bamako and get it melted in blocks for sale.
Yakuba Keita, who is Musa's colleague, is all smiles as he will not go home empty-handed.
I'm happy because I found some gold.
For now, small-scale miners in Dabale will continue their search for this precious metal, hoping that someday they will strike it rich.
4 kilometers is quite a long distance to go for household water. But that's the reality of families in Kimso village, Uganda. As climate change creates more floods across the African continent, the situation only gets worse. Let's find out.
Kamera wajizumize. Ala.
naye omulimu guno wagukutte bulungi komawo kwogukwata Dava kudomola. Secavos.
Well, that's all we had for you in Zoom in Africa. Thank you for watching.